In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to design a complete ready to send email inside of Claude without ever leaving the chat. That means no Figma, no Canva, no Klaviyo drag and drop editor. Literally just a conversation with Claude that knows everything about your brand and a high converting designed email that comes out on the other side. So everyone who's already using Claude knows that it can already help you come up with email ideas and write solid email copy. But with that said, the reason why most brands still aren't sending several emails per week and leaving revenue on the table because of that is because designing good emails that are actually worth sending takes way too much time. That is until today. So I'm in Claude right now, and the only thing that I need to make this magic happen right now is our Eltie MCP connector. I'm gonna drop a link in the description for you to install Eltie and get started on a completely free trial. And at the end of this video, I'll include quick instructions on how to get the MCP set up. All right, so we're using the brand Red Stick Spice right now. We have a project set up for Red Stick Spice, and much like your own Claude workspace and any projects or skills that you might have, our Red Stick Spice project knows everything about the Red Stick Spice brand. So all I have to do at this point is just ask Claude, like I would a human designer, to design any email I want. So I'm just gonna ask Claude to design an email for a 20% off site-wide flash sale. So Claude's going ahead and gathering brand context, and it's gonna write the copy, and then it's gonna create the event, so the calendar email event in Eltie in parallel. So Claude's asking if it can get the brand voice from Eltie. I'm just gonna click allow over here, but if you already have your own brand voice in Claude that you want Eltie to use, you don't have to do that. Now Claude's asking if it can actually design the email. So I'm gonna click allow, and now the email design is gonna get started. Now while Claude and Eltie are working together on the email design, I'm just gonna explain the magic of the Eltie connector and why Claude itself can't actually design a ready to send email for you. So much like everything else in AI, everything usually comes down to context and what the AI actually knows. So you might already have Claude connected to Klaviyo, you might have Claude connected to other sources, but at the end of the day, while Claude might know what your brand colors are and your brand guidelines are, it doesn't have access to any of your product photography or your lifestyle imagery, any of the visual assets that you would want to include in your emails to make it look completely on brand. Eltie, on the other hand, through its Shopify and Klaviyo integrations, has access to all of your visuals. And then when it comes to your brand guidelines of how you actually want to design an email, from little things like how you want your header and footer to look, to whether you want your buttons to have rounded corners or not, Claude isn't able to design an email that is completely on brand exactly how you want it without all of these details actually defined in a way that allows it to generate an email exactly as it should look. And then the second part of context outside of actual like hard-coded details like images to use is context about specific expertise. So when it comes to designing an email that's actually going to convert, if you've watched any of my other videos on email design, you know that there is a specific checklist of things that are really important to have when it comes to actually getting someone to click on an email and drive a conversion. So even if Claude could design an email to use with your images, which it can't, the other thing you're getting from the Eltie connector is literally design expertise that understands how to design an on-brand, high-converting email for your brand specifically. So just like that, Claude wrote the brief for the campaign, passed it off to Eltie, and now is just giving us the link to view the email design. So I'm just gonna click open link over here, and what that does is it takes us into Eltie, and right away we can see our design right over here. And just so you can understand exactly how Claude is communicating with Eltie and how they're working together, you can see that automatically Claude put this campaign onto our calendar right over here. It filled out the strategy with the brief that is from Claude, and then where Eltie comes in is it takes that strategy brief from Claude and basically just fine tunes it in order to make sure that this campaign is going to drive conversions. And now this is what we're all here for. So coming into the design section, here's where we can see the header that is stored in the brand profile of Eltie, where we have our design guidelines. So our colors, our typography, our button styles, and our set headers and footers was used exactly as it was supposed to be. We have an amazing hero section that was automatically designed by Claude and Eltie right over here. So it's a one-day flash sale. So we have a hero promo badge letting customers know that this is May 12th only. Your kitchen, 20% off, one day only, May 20. Use code FLASH20 at checkout, no exclusions, no fine print, and then shop the sale. So Eltie has implemented all of the important elements of a high converting hero section and a high converting design in this section, as we can see it right here. The email is scannable. It's getting the core information across extremely clearly. We're making the promo code that customers have to use extremely clear. And we have a clear CTA above the fold. Now here's where things get even more magical. So this hero image was completely AI generated using images from the product catalog and basically creating an image that perfectly suits strategy of this campaign. As we scroll down the campaign, one of the core principles of a high converting campaign is leaving plenty of white space. So Eltie is doing that extremely well in this design over here. Again, scannable, so we can really quickly see the core information that's trying to be communicated. And this is where strategy comes into play. So because it is a 20% off site-wide sale, instead of just telling customers to go and shop the website, we're letting them know that they should fill their pantry. And here are the exact products, which are going to be some of our best sellers, that they should stock up on while it's 20% off. So right over here, you can see Eltie is pulling in images directly from the brand's Shopify catalog, which we can see right over here. It's pulling in all the information, so the name of the product, the pricing, and then it's even creating specific descriptions that are aligned with the strategy of the campaign. We have a clear red CTA button right over here. And just as an example to show you how easy editing is inside of Eltie, if I just click on this button, maybe I want it to be black as an example, I can just say change color to black. And just like that, like a senior designer, Eltie follows my instructions to a T, and it does it in about 2 seconds. So again, great white space in between sections, making sure that all of the core elements like key CTAs are completely visible, scannable. This is what I would define as a ready to send email. So yes, there are subjective changes that can be made, just like if your campaign was designed by a human designer, but the ability to make those changes with Eltie's editor speeds up the process to an extremely high degree. When we can just swap out images, we can update copy however we want, we can update the links that any images or CTAs are going to go to. And then the final component, which you're really only getting if you're using the Eltie connector, and again, this is what takes you to ready to send status, is the ability to click one button and export this campaign into Klaviyo. So just like that, Eltie has created the campaign name that's going to live in Klaviyo, the subject line, the preview text. Eltie is suggesting which segments to send this to. So it's going to create the segments for you and send to the segments that are likely to generate the most revenue while also protecting your deliverability. And then with one click, we can literally just export this to Klaviyo and it becomes a scheduled campaign. So as you can see here, the campaign is scheduled at the right time in Klaviyo, ready to print money. So as of April 2026, this is by far the most efficient way for brands to send high converting, beautiful campaigns, and it can be done directly from Claude. If you haven't signed up for a free trial for Eltie yet, go do that and just watch the magic happen for your brand. I'll drop a link to sign up for the free trial in the description of the video. And as soon as you sign up for the free trial, you're gonna have free access to the Claude connector. So the way to set up the connector once you start your free trial is you're gonna go into Eltie, you're gonna go into integrations, and then what you're gonna see is this right here. So after you connect Shopify and Klaviyo, which are essential in order to go through the process like I just did, you're gonna click connect to Klaviyo. And what you're going to do is get the MCP server with your unique key right over here. So you're just going to copy this right here. You can click right here to add a custom connector. That's going to load this page where you can just type in Eltie to the name. You can paste in the connector and you can just click add. Simple as that. The next and final step is just going to be installing a skill file, which is essentially going to teach Claude how to interact with Eltie. So you're just going to download the skill, click on the button right here, and then you're gonna click on the plus, create skill, upload a skill, and then upload the skill file that you have just downloaded. And that is literally it. So you're all set. And now as soon as you go into a new chat and click on plus, you're gonna be able to see the Eltie connector right there, set up and ready to use. If you have any questions about the setup or about Eltie, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll see you in the next video.